Let's talk about stress hormones. Adrenal glands produce hormones that help regulate your metabolism, immune system, blood pressure, and help kind of modulate your response to stress and other essential functions. Now, there's two parts of the adrenal gland, the cortex and the medulla, and the cortex produces things like adrenal androgens, epinephrine, norepinephrine, etc. Let's talk about adrenals in general. The adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys as two bean-shaped glands, and they're part of the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. It's basically a communication system between your brain and your adrenals. So basically, that helps produce stress responses. Basically, when your body is responding to issues with your sleep rhythm or stressors, the brain secretes a hormone called CRH, or corticotrophin releasing hormones, and then triggers another response of another hormone, ACTH, and then that sends a message to the adrenals to produce different hormones. Now, again, we all have two adrenal glands. They sit on top of each kidney. The outer part of the adrenal gland produces hormones and prehormones. Now, prehormones are substances that aren't quite hormones, of course, but they help your body create hormones. The hormones and prehormones that your adrenals produce include aldosterone, DHEA, and cortisol. So let me start with cortisol. I always call it the darling stress hormone. People are sort of familiar with it. It's the most potent stress hormone and is considered a primary hormone. So if you don't have it, you would die. But we're very used to, people can like hike up their cortisol. And I talked about this in, I think the episode was called Should You Test Your Hormones? Now, cortisol levels are meant to peak in the morning, usually between 6 and 8 a.m., and then decline throughout the day. So if you can't get up in the morning or you feel wired and tired at night, your cortisol pattern might be out of whack. Let's talk about aldosterone. That's a hormone that helps regulate blood pressure. If you're producing too much aldosterone, your kidneys will retain sodium, which can result in high blood pressure. Let's talk about DHEA. That's a prehormone that helps regulate blood sugar, being hangry, and also lipids and helps support your bones. In women, adrenals can also help make testosterone and estrogen from DHEA and hormones, although hormones are normally made in the ovaries. In postmenopause, the adrenals take over and make more of this as ovarian function declines because our body has two modes, baby making and non-baby making, right? And so when it's non-baby making, it relies more on the adrenals. So if you are aging, listen up, you need to care more about your adrenals. Men don't convert DHEA to testosterone easily, but it does have some effect where they can do that. And DHEA has some effect on lipids, sugar, and bones for them. The specific hormones that DHEA activates are called androgens. Androgens include testosterone that help us build bone and muscle, which is important for healthy aging. So everyone needs, at least some level of testosterone. When people are really stressed for a long time, they'll have low testosterone and they'll totally feel like crap. When your adrenal glands are stressed, like I said, DHEA and testosterone levels fall because they're secondary hormones. They're not essential like cortisol. Your adrenal glands are focused on making primary hormone, cortisol. DHEA and testosterone are sacrificed to keep the production of cortisol going. That means if you are in high stress response or high cortisol, which pretty much most people are walking around in all the time, then we're compensating DHEA and testosterone. And so basically none of these other functions work very well. Your blood sugar is a mess, etc. Okay, so let's talk about some other symptoms that are off when your adrenal stress response or cortisol or HPA axis is out of whack. These are literally some of the questions I have on my own adrenal assessment I use in practice, and we also used in our burnout or adrenal assessment quiz on my website or at christabiegler.com/burnout. The first one is, do you feel unrested when you wake up, even if you've slept for over 7 hours? Do you feel exhausted in the afternoon? Do you get a burst of energy at night? So you don't have to check yes to all of these things, but they help us understand at what level are you dealing with? How is your stress response overall, right? If you rate really highly, then you need to stop everything you're doing and really focus on it because what happens next is not cool. Okay, let me keep going through it. Do you get dizzy, irritable, or sleepy if you go without food for 4 or 5 hours? Do you crave salty food? Do you have pain or inflammation in your muscles and joints? Do you get sick often? Is your sex drive lower than you'd like it to be, right? Thinking about the testosterone. Do you have a physical response to small stressors? For example, someone flips you off on the freeway. Does it bother you for hours after that? Or like if your child is yelling at you, does it like make you sweat? Do you feel like you have no energy to do the things you want to do? So those are some of the questions that we have. And what we're doing about this, because I feel like 2020 was kind of a tough year, right? I don't think I have to drill too hard on that. We have set up a 4-part workshop to go over and to help people correct their cortisol, to support their adrenals now that you know about what adrenals are. So let me tell you about it. And I'm just doing like a short, to the point. You don't need more information. You need to know what the problem is and how to solve it. So that's really essentially what we're trying to do. So we're calling it the Adrenal or Resilience Reset, and it's a 4-part adrenal workshop to promote productivity and hormone harmony. Because if this stuff is out of whack, you're not going to feel very productive, very focused, very good, because when your blood sugar and blood pressure and sleep and all of those things are off, you just cannot be as productive, and your hormones absolutely take the brunt of it. So in week 1, we're doing cortisol correction. So if you're wired and tired, then this topic's really for you. If you can't get out of bed in the morning, this topic is really for you. So to restore and rock your stress resilience, you've got to really get your circadian rhythms right. So in this session, we're covering our favorite stress hormone, cortisol 101, and how to make it your baby. I mean, we're going to set you up for better sleep and feeling rested upon waking, because when you have sweet dreams, you have happy hormones. In the second week, it's all about supporting your stage of stress. So we all have stress, let's face it. And it can look like, we can say, oh yeah, I have it, but whatever. It can be other things coming into it. It can be literally physical responses. Like if you're working out hard, running, it can be under eating, honestly. It could be a lot of things. We're not all in the same stage of stress or adrenal stress. Sometimes we're in a cute season. Like I always use the holidays. The holidays are I always find them to be a really stressful time, because as a parent, you're trying to get everything ready. So I love to give myself some extra support during that time so I can feel best. Otherwise you start to feel like this just sucks. So depending on what your stage is, if you're kind of like just barely a problem, if it's kind of becoming a little bit more of a regular problem. So we have some stages in our quiz, or if you're just fully, it's not okay. Depending on your level, you can be a little supportive or massively supportive. So the goal is here that you know how to support your own reserves and your own resilience, because you know what stage you're in and you know exactly what to do for it, like what to give yourself. And I'm literally saying there are some supplemental things. No, they're not just adaptogens that you can use to make yourself feel like you have steady energy and to just support yourself. Because sometimes we can't get out of an acute stressful situation. Chronic stress is another problem, but an acute stressful situation like those holidays, I love to give myself some support to head through that. When I'm packing for vacation, just all of those types of things. There are some no-brainer support things that anyone can do. And I've tested all of these things. And then there's also like the big kahuna support for those that really need to get your stress response back online. Because if you've had years of chronic stress, you get actually burned out, like night shifts, working super late on projects and not getting great sleep. Those definitely cause problems. And when they go unaddressed, they create autoimmune conditions for sure, thyroid issues, etc. Okay. In week 3, we're doing, I'm sorry for what I said when I was hangry. So, you just learn that your stress response is directly affected to your blood sugar or hanger, your hungry anger. So we want to say no to hanger and blood sugar imbalance. So in this week, we'll cover smart systems for balanced blood sugar, nutrient deficiency patterns that most people don't even know about. I mean, they really don't, unless you've done excessive micronutrient testing and study. And then other like little sneaky solutions you can do for balanced blood sugar, because we all need it, whether you think you need it or not. We all need really good blood sugar. If you're getting shaky from your coffee, we know we all need some better blood sugar. If we're skipping a meal here and there, we all need to like look at better blood sugar. And this is not about complicated stuff, because honestly, I don't have time to implement a complicated system either. And the last week is the hormone tango. Hormones dance together for sure. Like when estrogen goes up, progesterone goes down. That's just how it goes. So we want to talk about hormones 101 and how our potentially poor stress response can be sabotaging them into imbalance, and how to correct those imbalances, at least briefly. We're really focusing on those adrenal hormones. We want to talk about all hormones in general, because we want to have really resilient stress hormone balance as you apply the things that I teach you in each week. So this is all about thriving, not surviving, because most of us are waking up, reacting, and just surviving. And then I have a couple bonuses. One of them is prioritizing your perfect day and other simplified stress squashing systems. And the other one is brain love for endurance, productivity, and seriously happier hormones. So I am doing this 4-week or 4-part adrenal support workshop to promote productivity and hormone harmony. And I would love, if this episode resonated with you, to join me. And you can do that if you go to christabiegler.com/burnout. You can take the quiz, or we'll give you the link to the direct workshop. It starts March, the first Friday in March. We're going to do a live session at lunch for every Friday in March. And if you can't make it to the live session, there'll always be a replay. And we're going to keep it simple, action-packed. Here's why you should care. Here's exactly what to do about it. Come back next week to get the next stage. So again, if you said yes as I was going through the assessment questions, or this episode resonated with you, please take care of this before it's actually a real problem. You will save yourself so much time, money, and hassle. So I can't wait to see you at our Adrenal or Resilience Reset workshop. It's every Friday in March at noon, and you can get to the quiz by going christabiegler.com/burnout and take the quiz first, or you can go direct to the workshop offer, and that is in the show notes. So I'll see you there. I've really spent some time reflecting on my own phases of burnout this year and past years, and I know I'm not the only one that has gone through or goes through these peaks and valleys. And while sometimes you need lows to appreciate the highs in life, some valleys are pretty difficult for both your mind and your body in a very literal physical way. This year, I'm feeling really pulled to help others work through burnout, nourish their adrenals, mind, body, and spirit, and have some incredible things in store to help you feel refreshed and renewed. I invite you to take my quiz, Are You Approaching Burnout?, to assess your stress resilience and find out more about how to help you overcome it. Go to christabiegler.com/burnout to take that quiz, and it'll also be in the show notes.